Hello, World of Tank Blizzards, as Littlefinger, and yes, I'm finally back. Going to start putting out a little more content for you guys. Sorry for the absence. Move is complete. New job is still kicking my butt. But we're getting the hang of it and getting a little bit more free time. And in that free time here, March 2019, I have been playing the WZ-131G-FT. You can see it here in the bottom of all of my tier 6 TDs. The only one I'm missing is the Jackson. So we got 88, Churchill, Hellcat, Nashorn, Jagdpanzer 4, SU-100, ARL V39. So quite a variety of tanks here with some turreted, non-turreted, but obviously the go-to tank, in my opinion, top of class, is the Jagdpanzer 4. This tank, however, on the Chinese line is quickly becoming one of my favorites. Only 20 games into this tank, and I'm really enjoying it. Well, why is that? Obviously, it doesn't have much armor, but it's got this nice slope to it, and it's got mobility, and it's got good reload and good damage. It's not one of these tanks with a super long reload that does massive amounts of damage if you miss. You've ruined your whole game, or one of these pew-pew type guns. So that's why I think I am liking it so much. So let's just take a quick look here at the tech tree. You know, recently Wargaming put out this TD line for the Chinese tank here, starting at tier 6. Really can't tell you too much about them because I haven't really faced them or played them at this point in time because of my layoff from the game. Anyway, you can see here real quick my upgrades, and I'll talk about that here in a second. This 85mm gun is very serviceable. You can certainly play your first 5 games in this tank and do very well with this gun. Obviously, when you get up to being bottom tier, you're going to want that extra pen that the 100mm gives you. I will say this, though. The penalty for not upgrading the engine and tracks is huge in this tank. If we look at downgrading this engine to what you get when you first buy it, you're losing 14 degrees per second on the traverse speed. Compile that with 9 degrees, 23 total degrees per second. And the first game I'm going to play you is one of my first 5 games before I upgraded these, and you will certainly see the difference in that traverse speed. But nonetheless, you can play your first 5 games there, get as much experience points so you don't waste too much upgrading. Rule of thumb here for me on equipment is if I first buy a tank, I will fill out the first level. So you can see here, got calibrated shells, improved modules, and camouflage net. When I start to like a tank, then I will fill up the second level, enhanced gun lane drive, enhanced armor. Looking at the armor characteristics of this tank, you're really not getting a lot here. You might be better served with that extra 55 hit points. You know what? I'm just going to leave it right there. And then engine accelerator. When I really like a tank, and it's a tank I go to and I play frequently, that's when I'll get into the bottom row there. So I'm not at this point with the tank, but yet I am really starting to enjoy it over my last 20 games. So let's take a quick look here at my record in this. 19 games, 68% win record. Average damage 1550 is real good for a tier 6. So we're having fun in the tank. Consumables, repair kit, multi-purpose, adrenaline, provisions, running improved, combat rations, protective kit, improved fuel, ammunition 24, 10, and 6, making sure to buy your APCR there. It's a little bit more clear with this new button that they put in that you are now spending credits, not gold, which is nice. Good job, Wargaming. So let's take a look and compare these to other tanks in the tier, and then we'll jump into some gameplay. All right, guys, here we are, blitzstars.com, just looking at the non-turreted TDs, non-premium tier 6 tank destroyers, and you can see here, damage per minute, we're close to the top. Obviously, that Jagdpanzer blows away everyone else with its damage per minute, but after that, we're right up there next to the Nashorn. And part of that is your 280 alpha that you're doing per shot because you've got a 100mm gun. Actually, when you look at this tank, the 85 millimeter gun has a higher DPM. But I just found that, the pen wasn't as good when you were bottom tier. Like I said, first 5 games, certainly run it. You're going to do great. The pen is what stands out. One of the things I love about this tank, outside of Nashorn, and we know the issues with Nashorn and its maneuverability and its lack of armor everywhere. The pen on this is wonderful at 181. And this fits into a niche for me as far as tanks with a decent reload and decent damage. I really don't like tanks that have long reloads, high damage, nor do I really care for tanks that have little damage but are really fast, high reloads like the ATs. But anyway, moving on down, shell velocity 900. It's going to help you with your sniping and snapshotting. And so, again, another stat that helps this tank just stand out, in my opinion. Aim time 1.81 is a little bit on the high side. And I did have some issues sniping with this tank, but because of its movement and mobility, I prefer to play it close to the middle, and you'll see that in my gameplay. I'm more aggressive in it, just using hard cover to sneak out, take my shot back into cover. Gun depression obviously is an issue with these tanks. -5 degrees comes into play, more often than you would think. So, got to give it a little bit of a downvote for that. But nicely, it does have an aiming arc of 12 degrees left and right. So if you're stationary with your camo net, you've got a 24 degrees there that you can get your sights on without resetting camo. Now, when we move down to movement and mobility, that is where things really start to stand out, in my opinion, with this tank. While it's got the same top speed as the Jagdpanzer IV, what you'll notice is they've got the terrain resistance a little bit better. So you've got a 24 power to weight ratio, which you're going to notice when you accelerate, when you drive up hills, running away from targets. Those type of things, and that's why I'm really, really enjoying this tank, just because of its mobility, really. And then, as we move on down here, credit coefficient, they don't have anything for the hull armor. That's what I want to talk about. 35 millimeters. We are in the Nashorn category, so guys, if you see this tank out there on the battlefield and you've got a shot at the sides or the back of it, it's HE time, right? But with that being said, people really don't know that, so they're shooting AP. You've got a very large gun mantlet. You do get bounces off of that slope. So I'm not too concerned as a negative on this tank as far as it goes for the hull armor. Just wanted to point out here, average damage 1031 versus 978 for the Jagdpanzer. So even though the Jagdpanzer has a much, much higher damage per minute, 700 more over the last, 30 games, 90 days, people are averaging a higher average damage on that tank. So really it's not the end all be all for tank play. So let's look at how this plays on the battlefield, shall we? All right, guys, here we are. First game. This is probably one of my first 5 games. I know that for a fact in this tank. And so I hadn't upgraded the engine or the tracks. And I just want you to, as we watch this game, just see how slow this is and how much of a punishment not upgrading the tracks and the engine are on this tank. But anyway, on Faust here, Supremacy, you'll notice that common theme for me with this tank is trying to stay on the edge of the map. Obviously, you want to, use as much cover as possible. When I see that the other team has gone into C, then I push into A with the rest of the team, and then we're going to flank on around here. And I'm not sure if I had 100% crew. Typically, I would go ahead and just go ahead and spend the gold on that, but I'm not sure if I did here. But you saw how slow that turn was there. And we only get 11 hit points, but we get a kill. Now we got to turn all the way back around here and I mean, this is almost funny how slow this is. So none of their team obviously is spotted, so we're going to be conservative. We're not going to rush out there. They have now pushed into D, taken out 2 of our guys. And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to push into C here when we start getting into the middle of a few tanks. And it's a nice little roll there, 280 on the PZ-4G. Glad to get that M4 off my butt. I'm not sure, you know, how he's driving, but figure he's going to go take these guys out. There's a WZ on the other side, but we missed a shot. Take a shot. Let's go ahead and finish off. There goes that M4 that couldn't drive straight. And another 97, but kill number 2. Stug has come in here. We're going to finish him off. 238 on that shot. Kill number 3. And here we are. Look at the slow turn. Yeah, you know, it almost makes you not want to drive this tank anymore, but I promise you guys, once you can get the equipment upgraded, you're going to enjoy this tank a lot more. So we're going to switch on over here. Sherman Firefly, get the first shot in, and we'll see if we can't back up behind hard cover. This is what I'm talking about. Give yourself time to reload, pull forward, aim, and, you know, even on the side of the turret cheeks there, you get that to go in and finish him off. For kill number 4, now we're going to try a shot here between the tanks. No idea where that goes. A little bit unlucky there because I was aimed fully in on that, but we're going to go for it again and finish him off for kill number 5. M4 is a 1-shot. Here we are trying to turn around and go after him. And that's when we get circled by the other WG. So I decide, you know, I'm going to use the cover of this building to turn around. Unfortunately, because I'm so darn slow, I just can't get in the game here. Or else I might have had a shot on that M4. And look at this. This is painful slow. Another shot there. And finish him off. 238 for 6 kills. So damage wasn't that high, but we did have a lot of low roll kills there. Pulls medal for one of your first games in the tank, which obviously sets me up nicely for enjoying this tank down the road. Alright guys, here we are. This is Vineyards, and we are now bottom tier, platooned up with Walkie Talk, who's in the MT-25. And so, yeah, we're just going to get a high perch here, look around, and, you know, see where this team heads off, and see where the reds start popping up. Not really intent on sitting back here the whole game. But I do want to get a feel for, you know, where they're headed, where their weaknesses are, and how we can exploit those. So a couple of them have popped up in town yet, and you know, we still don't know where the other ones are. They've got a couple TDs. I'm assuming that they are hanging back. So we're going to push up a little bit closer to the middle of the map, and we've got some hard cover here with this building, and we've got some bushes also to help with our camo. And our guys are taking some heat down there in town for sure. And there's that JP4. You know, you can see here we take our shot, we pull into hard cover while we're reloading. Only going to be exposed while we are aiming. Take our shot, pull back forward. Going to drop down here to try to help out the Hellcat. But he's taken out So now it's the WZ. And we're just going to drive on by. We really don't want to be turning in the water. That's going to make us even slower. I don't think we've got our tracks. We've probably got our engine upgraded at this point, but not our tracks. So the tank is starting to get a little bit faster. And as you can see, the guys in town have, for the most part, held their own. And there's just 3 guys left. They keep telling me Panther's stuck, Panther's stuck. So I know I can come in here. He's got a low roll. You see, he's only going to do 160. I do a full roll there of 350. So it's a nice trade considering I haven't taken any hit points. We're going to reload, trade another one, and then just back on out of there as this Gravedigger comes around. Get him exposed on the side. He takes one from the friendly. And, at this point in time, we can just take his shots and we can reload and get one shot in. How not to angle a Gravedigger right there, right? So he's going to show me his side, and we're going to finish him off. So you can see with this tank, its ability to just put out some big numbers here, and we finish off the KV2. And that 260, 240, 280 number, it's just a great number. Find yourself getting full rolls all the time, doing 24, 74, 3 kills and damage there. And it just happens so easily in this tank, which is why I'm really enjoying it. Alright, another game here. Fort Despair, again, bottom tier, and another Supremacy. And yeah, Supremacy does add an additional X factor into this game where none is really needed with these teams lately. But I'm going to go out wide and just kind of, again, using my TD formula here, trying to stay on the outside and waiting to see how these teams shake out and where they go. And so we're going to be patient. Let our lights and medium spot for us. There we go. There's 3, 4. So we've seen most of the team now, and this is when I start to get a little bit closer in, see if we can't start getting some shots in. Thinking that you're on the edge of the map in terms of where their team is. Cromwell's going to peek up. There's Hellcat. We get shot in on him, get spotted. Now Cromwell knows where we're at. That thing with that great gun depression, he's going to have no problem shooting down on me, giving me a small target. Oh, there's a bounce, and you are going to get a few. Take a big shot from that KV-1S. So going to drop adrenaline. And like I was saying before, when you're doing about 250 a shot, that's 500 damage before that KV-1S can reload. And so at this point in time, I think, I'm dead. I'm in the middle of these other tanks when I'm not sure what that Cromwell did. He ended up going to the edge of the map and chasing that one tank, which allowed us to come through and just clean up their heavies here. So yeah, you can see all 3 of them now over there, and I was in the middle of all that. So my decision to push hard and fast through the heavy line turned out to be the right one, luckily. But had I hesitated, I'm in the middle of all of these guys now. Look at that snapshot on the fast-moving LTTB. It's your game when you do something like that. Here's the Cromwell trying to run away. Another snapshot into the back. KV2 here. We're going to get turned and just wait for him to stick his nose up. There it is. Take our shot and start our backup. And you'll see here HE shot comes in 139 on that KV-1S. So I got about 20 seconds here that I can rush in and get a shot in on him. Knowing your reload times is really helpful, guys. And so we come around the corner. No worries, he's not even aimed at us. Finish him off. And that's the great thing with this tank. With the pen number so high, you really don't have to worry about angles. In that last game, you saw one go through the front of the highly angled Stug. That time, angle back of the KV2. Going in for 5 kills. We're going to be patient. We're going to get the shot. We are going to miss the shot. But again, our speed lets us move on in and finish off that LTTB for our 5th kill as bottom tier, doing 2,300 damage. You know, and just fun. I'm enjoying this tank, and I can't say that again about a lot of these tier 6 TDs. So really enjoying this tank. All right, last game I'm going to show Normandy, top tier. And again, sticking to the same strategy. We're going to go out wide. We're going to stick by the red line, and we're just going to wait and be patient. See where the red dots spot up, and then adjust our play based upon the location of the enemy. So up to the building here gives us a nice little bit of hard cover down the line. Nice bush gives us concealment. And we've got the VK out there scouting for us. But you can see they have all pushed into the middle of the map. So I'm going to be super aggressive here. And I am doing a long, wide flank. I've looked at their team composition, and they have an AT. I would have spotted him by now had he been coming this way, but instead he's pushed down into the middle, and you can see here we have got them all looking the wrong way, and so we have successfully flanked them here, and we can just drop adrenaline and start putting shots in. AT has noticed us at this point in time, and he's going to give us a couple shots before we decide to move on out of there. So I got to back around this building so that he no longer has shots on me, and he's got to make a decision. Do I just keep facing him and get shot from my left side, or do I push on forward to those heavies? And I am going to push on in. On the move, 271 there, and we're just coming up behind the AT. Obviously the best place to be. KV1's not able to penetrate, so finish him off. We're getting shot from behind, so I want to just get on out of there and get to safety, really. So it's 3-on-3, and they've got 2 big heavies there, KV2 and KV1S. And, you know, I could probably take one shot from the KV1S, but definitely not an HE from that KV2 if it penetrates, right? And so I stick around, my nose around there, seeing if he'll bait and take a shot. He doesn't. And I'm just using my speed. I'm getting out of there, leaving that heavy behind, and coming in, and, again, dropping adrenaline and finishing off this KV2. Thankfully, the KV1 helped me out. And getting one shot in there, and you can see here KV1S how far behind he is. We just left him in the dust. And that's what I love about this tank and its mobility, its speed. There we take that one shot, 316. We can reload and get a second shot in. Not going to take our chances with a third shot there, so we'll just let him make the mistake. Obviously 2-on-1, he's going to come around the building or get shot. There he goes for our kill number 5, 2,700 damage. And just the speed, the mobility, and the quick reload, the high damage. It's just an all-around really good tank, and it might have surpassed the Jagdpanzer 4 for me just because of your pen number being that much higher. So, if you haven't already got it, I highly recommend it. This has been a fun tank for me to play sporadically here as I get back into the game and I can start putting out more videos for you guys. Thanks for hanging with me. If you haven't already, please make sure you've hit that subscribe button, and looking forward to more content coming out soon. And as always, guys, have fun out there. Stay safe. Get educated. Not fingered. Littlefinger out.